Well, Insta world, I've been thinking about how coronavirus, this pandemic, has affected the lives of so many humans the world over, and myself included. The last couple weeks of my life hasn't gone exactly like I thought it would have, but all in all, it doesn't suck either, and that's because I mean, it's kind of just business as usual. I go ski, I go bike, I feed myself and perform other necessary daily functions. Um, but I was still thinking, like, it's different, and how is it different, and what am I doing that I'm doing differently? And it almost feels a lot like just how I would live if I was in the Grand Canyon. Like, I have to think ahead about food procurement instead of just going to the grocery store whenever I want to, which is pretty rad. Um, I am making things happen that I want to happen for convenience sake, like cutting this cutting board in half with a hacksaw earlier, because I would really like to be able to have like some cutting board and some sink. This is too much cutting board, at least for me. So I made it better enough. And I think that in a lot of ways, the experience that we are having is going to be a heck of a reset for humankind, if we can embrace it that way. This is a natural event. Even if your lens is the conspiracist theory of biological warfare, it's still a natural event. Fighting over resources is a natural occurrence in a lot of other species as well. So you can't buck me there. Like, this is a natural experience that we're having. It's not human versus human biological warfare. I call BS on that. It's more like Mother Nature versus human bio warfare. And what I mean by that is it's our entire global ecosystem's immune response to our species' recent evolutionary trend towards growth for the sake of growth, which is an ideology that quite perfectly describes the behavior of a cancer cell, as once noted by the author Edward Abbey. It might require some humility for all of us as a species, humankind, to accept that our place in this universe is not the center. But we have to change that egocentric collective consciousness. Up until last week, a lot of humans living in first world countries, developed countries, probably went about their daily lives as if the world revolved around making more money and more humans. But all it's taken is the fear of quite a bit more of us dying this year than average. And a great many of us are sitting at home, blindsided by and maybe struggling with the question of what is an essential activity. A perfect example, if you have kids. Well, it's still essential that an adult human is protecting those little humans and ideally teaching them valuable life skills with which to survive and live a rich and full life, even though they can't go off to school where they would normally go for that type of experience during the workday. But what's not essential is making more humans just because we are cooped up at home with our partners. There have been some pretty witty lines about buying stock in diaper companies, or what we're going to call the generation of kids born as a result of the time we've spent closer to the bedroom because of the physical distancing measures that we're trying to use to spare our older or weaker friends or loved ones. But that attitude is half of the equation in our remarkably imbalanced birth to death ratio in the United States and the first world. Humans are being born in the U.S. at an annual rate of 11.6 per 1,000 per year. That's 3.8 million humans being born in America every year. We're only dying at a rate of 8.6 per 1,000, or around 2.8 million per year. So there you go. America, just for example, we're making 1 million more humans every year than we're losing. That's according to the CDC website. Most of us have enough Facebook friends that we can evaluate and validate that claim just in our own, like, real worlds. Even if you maybe start unfollowing people once their feed becomes nothing but like tiny human pictures, it still looks like there's more people being born than dying out there in the world. If you look at a graph of the human population increase over time, it looks a lot like a graph of COVID-19 spreading. We don't like it when a virus does it. We don't tolerate it when other species do it. Think about wolves as they rebounded after their reintroduction in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. Mosquito population. You know, I've been around a resort operation, a ranch operation, where if the mosquito population blossomed one spring, you'd go to the effort to pay for an exterminator to come in. But we joke around, and that gives way to we actually believe that it's okay to mindlessly or carelessly, you could say, make more humans at a faster rate while we're stuck at home because of a virus that, quite frankly, exists because there are already too many humans. Why? I don't think it's okay. A good example for those of us whose minds are maybe more focused on what's going on with the economy right now, the financial sector. I mean, this is the same type of thing that happens when a business tries to grow too fast and it fails because you could say it didn't want to learn to walk before it tried to run. Or when, for example, in a more human sense, a human tries to go too fast and it fails because it didn't want to learn to walk before it tried to run. Maybe that's what's going on right now with population increase, and there are a lot of humans. You know, this could be our cue to slow down and get better at doing the things that are essential for life. I mean, that's all a lot of us can do right now. Like, if you're at home with your kids, with your family, you could be spending more time with your family. I've spoken to some, two gentlemen I know, guys I know, that are raising a family, various stages. One has some 12-year-olds, one has a 3-year-old. But they both mentioned that they are really making the best of this situation because they are getting to spend more quality time with their sons and their daughters. And oh my God, like, talk about hitting the nail on the head. That is essential, like, to raise the next generation of happy, healthy humans. And I'm here to tell you, like, yeah, I would have loved it if my dad was around more instead of working all the time. Well, it's like Mother Nature is hitting the reset button and giving us an opportunity to get back to what is more essential for life. And especially, like, what we have access to that gives us a happier, healthier life. I've been hearing economic advisor types, financial sector types talking about what's going to happen with the economy. I heard something today on NPR, an advertisement, an advisor from around here, Roaring Fork area, Aspen area, assuring people that the economy is going to come back, like don't liquidate your stocks right now, etc. I think that as we rebound from this experience, as we come back from this experience, rebuild, reopen, whatever we're going to call it from this experience, uh, we need to think about it from a sustainability standpoint, a long-term health and happiness of humans and all species on the planet and the health of the whole world standpoint, instead of just blindly running back into some period of unchecked growth. And I say unchecked in referral to the statistic I've heard that we just had the longest period of economic growth in U.S. History. It's like, okay, awesome. I mean, what are we so bummed about? Was it just gonna go forever? Nothing works that way. There's nothing about the world, the cosmos, the universe in which we live that can just do this forever and ever and ever and ever. I've come to understand that things are more of a cycle. There are a lot of cycles in nature that we can see if we just slow down and pay attention. But we need to have a conversation about how the health of the human species fits in with the overall health of the world in which we exist. We can't exist without the earth. Like, duh. But really think about how serious that is. Like, we can't exist without the earth. We can't exist without the earth being in a certain healthy enough state to support the human population that's on it and the other, animal and plant populations that are on it, that all have to work in symbiosis to sustain life. As we come back from this, we need to be returning to the everyday in a different way. We need to keep living more like we're being asked to live right now in some ways, in the good ways. I think that's it for now. I am starving because, once again, it's after 10, it's almost 11 o'clock before I get around to feeding myself. It's something that I'm working on right now. Is taking better care of me, like getting into healthier routines, because I have this extra time and space, mentally, physically, spiritually. Loving oneself can be a really valuable thing to come away with this with as well.